Welcome back. I'm Dr. Cheek and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how do you maintain or build resilience when you're living in a constant state of chaos and when it feels like you are in this constant storm of emotions, of different life events or different life stressors that feel like they are outside of your control. And how do you come out on the other side of that event or situation much stronger, in a different headspace, being able to manage your emotions and feel like you have a life worth living, or continuing to build your quality of life, or find that resiliency that's within, or being able to be built based off of your community engagement. First, let's define resiliency. What does it mean to build resilience? What that means is that we're able to adjust, and most times positively adjust, to difficult situations that may be sometimes outside of our control or even within our control, and we're able to navigate and adapt to those situations in a way that once we've come through that situation, we are mentally, physically, emotionally stronger, or with additional resources to be able to handle difficult or new situations. And what it doesn't mean is that the experience that you've had, the situation that you've gone through, that it has absolutely no effect on you. It doesn't mean that that situation didn't actually affect you in any way, cause any type of harm mentally, physically, or emotionally. It just means that you were able to adjust and make space for those new adaptations, given the difficulty of that situation, and it didn't push you to the point where you weren't able to come back from that situation. So that's what it typically means to be resilient. And how do we build resiliency when we're constantly dealing with chaos? There are three things that I'm going to primarily focus on, and that's most helpful in building resiliency. Is one, that you are able to know that you have a breaking point. We all have a breaking point. That is the point at which you have taken on more stressors than necessary, and you've gotten to the point where you have broke mentally, physically, emotionally, and you are not able to function adequately and effectively in life. Now, I want to repeat, we all have a breaking point. So what that means for you to be able to know your breaking point and to know what limitations you have is to, one, know that you have limitations. You have a finite amount of resources, internal and external to you, to be able to deal with your life stressors and other life stressors. So what it looks like to be able to know your limits and to know where your breaking point is to be aware of those times when you are taking on more unnecessary stressors than you have the capacity to handle. Now, does that mean you start cutting people off? You don't actually take on more responsibility than you have to? No, you are able to take on additional responsibilities. You're able to take on multiple stresses. However, you know that there is a point where you've reached your limit in taking on unnecessary stressors. There are stressors that are necessary, that are outside of what we feel like we are able to manage, and we manage them every day. But there are also unnecessary stressors that we continue to take on, whether that is someone else's responsibility, whether that is things that are outside of your control, feeling like you have to take on that responsibility, feeling like you're the only one who can do it, and if you don't do it, it won't get done, feeling like there is no one else who's capable. Do not continue to take on unnecessary stressors when you know you have reached a point where you feel like at any moment I may break. And what it means to break is that I shut down mentally. I can't function. I can't take care of my actual responsibilities. The things that I need to get done day to day, I can't do those things. I've reached my breaking point where I disassociate unconsciously. It's not me zoning out. It's not me choosing to dissociate or kind of step away from reality for a moment. I'm not doing a visualization exercise. I'm not doing an imaginary exercise. I am literally losing track of time because I am unconsciously disassociating from reality because I feel like I am taking on or doing too much. Or it looks like you are behaving in ways that you may regret. So you are getting easily frustrated. So you are being aggressive and hostile towards people that you would never be aggressive or hostile to. Or you're actually being aggressive and hostile, and that's just not your normal behavior. That's not how you are used to dealing with being overwhelmed. But this moment, you're not able to manage that behavioral response. Your behaviors are so outside of your control because at this moment, you have reached your breaking point, you have reached your limit, and you push past it. Be aware of your breaking point. That allows you to build resiliency because you know how much you can take on, and you trust yourself to set effective boundaries for yourself and for those around you so that you don't take on more necessary and unnecessary stressors, then you know you are capable of handling. Again, we all have a breaking point. Another thing that can build up a sense of resiliency within us is learning how to advocate for yourself, or learning how to fight when you need to fight. And I'm not saying get into a physical altercation, because if you've ever done anything in the realm of emotion regulation, you understand when we're in crises, the golden rule is, how do I manage to get through this crisis without making anything worse? And in this moment, how do I fight for myself or for others that does not make this situation worse? How do I learn to advocate effectively to make sure I get my needs met? How do I advocate effectively to protect myself, to protect those who are close to me, to protect people that I'm not even aware of that it has the ability to protect? But in this moment, I feel like I have the capacity to be able to fight this fight for them. How do I stand in the gap? How do I stand up and speak up and say what I need to say to advocate, to be able to get active, to do something that says, I am putting things into place that go along with my values. And in my values, I will not sit back and let the current chaotic moment dictate how I value myself and how I value others. So I'm going to fight for what we need. And this builds resiliency because you stop feeling helpless in certain situations, and you start to identify the things I can do to feel like I have a sense of control or a sense of predictability in my day-to-day life. I am fighting, I'm advocating, I know I have a voice, and I'm using my voice effectively to do what I feel like I need to do in this moment that will take me past this moment to say, I was able to advocate myself, to protect me, to protect others, to be a voice for people who do not have a voice or may not be given the space to have a voice. I am able to do that. So I'm able to get through this storm. And if something similar happens again, I know what I am capable of, and I know what I am built to do. So being able to learn how to fight and advocate for yourself. And again, I highlight, I am not saying you need to get in a physical altercation, because the last thing we need to do when we're swimming in a cesspool of chaos is to create more chaos. Learning how to advocate and speak up for yourself and find your voice is a way that we build resiliency. So get active and get activated, because that builds your confidence to be able to do things that you never thought you were capable of doing before. And that last thing that you can do is to be willing to try to find the joy in the chaos. And I know that sounds like complete silliness, because how can I find joy when all the chaos and the storms are happening? And I think where we get hung up on this one is that we tend to think that we need to do something big. If I'm going to find my joy, I need to spend money on this, I need to do this. No, we need to find those small things sometimes. Those small things that we can do daily, that we can do every other day, that gives us a mental break, that elevates our mood, that allows us to keep fighting, that allows us to know what stressors we can take on, to allow us to add those additional stressors to our plate. What are those things? What are those activities? Who are those individuals that we can spend time with? Those supports that we have around us? Who are those people that we hang out with? Because hanging out with them, I feel like I can fully be myself. I don't have to put on a mask. I don't have to put on a face. I don't have to try to pretend to be anyone but me around these individuals. Who are my supports, and who can I find joy in this moment? Where can I find that joy? Where can I make and find the time to engage in positive, enjoyable, and fun activities? And that can look like a walk in the park. That could look like going to a museum, a free museum. That could look like taking a walk in your neighborhood. That could look like looking for the most cost-effective, inexpensive thing that I can do that gives me some sense of joy. And what this typically does is that sometimes when we're going through some of the most chaotic moments, being able to have that refresher, to have that moment where we're able to lighten our mood, to lighten our loads, to find the enjoyment in life again, we're able to find the motivation that we need to keep going, to continue to put the effort in, to find that quality of life, to continue to figure out new ways to adjust and adapt to the chaos that's happening in this moment. Because the chaos will not last always. It may feel like it when you're in it. That chaos may feel like it is never ending and will never stop. But that chaos typically and generally does not last always. So what can I do right now to find the positive place, the enjoyable place that I need in this moment to motivate me to keep moving forward at this time? These are just some steps you can take to build resiliency. These are some ways that you can start to reinforce that ability, the efficacy, the confidence to be able to adapt and to adjust to that situation, whatever that situation may be. And what I hope you take from this video today is this. Sometimes in life, there are things that are going to happen that are outside of our control, whether it's things that are happening close to us or far away from us. All of these are things that require us to adapt and to find space and to find the ability to work through and manage and adjust in a way that once we are able to get through this moment, we are stronger and we have more resources and we have more of an ability to manage difficult situations on the other side of this current moment. That's what it looks like to build resiliency. Resiliency means that I am able to adapt to this situation. Resiliency is not putting your head down and pushing forward and hoping things will cease to be chaotic. It's not ignoring that these things are happening around you. Resiliency is not hoping someone else will fix it, hoping that someone else will take the lead or to save you from yourself or save you from the situation. Resiliency is being able to navigate the difficulties of a situation and learning those steps that you need to learn to feel like you're capable and have the capacity to manage whatever's happening in that moment. Whether that is to know that you have a breaking point and know what your limits are and push past them only in ways that you're able to maintain your mental, emotional, and physical stability. It also means being able to fight when it's time to fight. And I don't mean a physical altercation. I mean learning to find your voice and to advocate for yourself. And it also means being able to find the joy and enjoyment in those moments. Is that joy or enjoyment going to last for hours? Probably not. It may be fleeting, but as long as you find opportunities each day to have that moment of enjoyment, you build the motivation, the stability, the ability to sustain dealing with this current chaotic moment. As always, I hope something in this video today was helpful, was informative. I hope you've learned something from this video today. I hope you can take something from this video today that was useful. As always, please feel free to jot down any thoughts, questions, or comments you have below. I thank you for taking the time to listen, and I'll be seeing you again very soon. Thank you.